Right, let's roll that engine over. Pop the sump out. Again. That is heavy. Heavy, heavy, heavy.
So what's this, the engine out of then?
A 1930 Hudson Straight 8. So I've rebuilt all the conrods, shimmed all the crank up, put the sump back on, and then realised there's a pickup oil tube inside. So I've got to remake one of them and put it on, because otherwise they run at very, very low oil pressure anyway. This is more splash lubrication, but without that in there it would have gone horribly wrong. So we'll pop this back off, put our tube in. Yeah, so I was sitting there last night eating my dinner and I thought, there should be a tube in there.
So basically you've been given this engine in pieces?
It was 2 complete engines. That block was running, which I got going okay, but it was so damaged and cracked, it was just leaking water everywhere. So Gordon found another 1930 engine in Bristol, which we went to get. So this is the block off of that engine, because it isn't cracked, but it had to have all new liners put in it because it was so rotten inside. I don't know if you can see it or not. So they've had to put these new liners in. That's about 1/4 of an inch thick. So they bored it out so much they've had to put massive liners in it.
Yeah.
See, it's going through there. So I've had a lot of machining work done on it. So then I've had to put the crankshaft out of that engine in this block, which is a bit of fannying around because you've got to use the caps that came off of this block because they're line bored.
Okay.
So then you have to re-shim everything. Yeah, so it's a mishmash of all the parts of all the different engines. So I had to take the camshaft bearings out of one and put them in the other and all sorts of bits and pieces, you know. So quite a lot of work. Got enough to choose from. Right, so that's got to come off. So that's the internals of the engine. So you have to shim each one of these. You have to shim each one of these. It took me a day to do those 5 bearings. Pain in the arse. You've got the drag of 8 pistons. There's 4 rings per piston, piston rings. So they always go what you call tight on the first. It'll take a bit of a wallop to get them going, you know.
Yeah.
But once she's rotating, it's all nice and smooth. So that's all good. It just takes a long time to do it, you know. So the oil tube that was missing, we've got to make another one, which goes from here. You have a bent right angle tube that goes in there, and when you put this on, it has to fit down into that tube there.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a fiddle, but we've got the original one there. I don't want to risk, because I've cut the end off to get the olive off, I don't want to risk actually using this one because it might be too short then. 7.9mm, 5/16. Right, there's a nice right angle bend. And there on the depth. That's that, and we know we've cut the length of the olive off of there, so if we go about there, Yeah. Right, now. So that has to go through there, that way up. Right, so let's put our baffle plate back in. You see these scoops here? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And those indents in there, they fill up with oil. Okay?
Yeah.
And as that goes, rotates that way, that scoop picks up the oil out the bottom,
Okay.
feeds your conrod bearings and splashes the oil up into these troughs that are cast into the block.
Okay.
Then these webs, crank webs or block webs, they've all got troughs in as well, so the oil dribbles into there and dribbles down and feeds all the bearings. They literally only run, I think it's about 5 or 7 psi, whereas a normal car, if you're under 30 psi, you'd worry about it. But they're very, very low. It has got a little oil pump that pumps some oil up into the cam bearing there, but they're very, very low oil pressure. Right, now we've got to put this on, wiggle that into that hole. They don't have to be nipped down, it's just a location point, you know. So we've got to take them out and put the sump back on, but while you're doing that tube, I want to make sure that is in the right place, yeah? Yeah. Goes in over your tube, compresses your olive so you've got an oil type fit in there, yeah? Which is good, nice fit. Right, that's got to face that way. Okay, that's good. We know all that's fitted now. And now we can pop those bolts off, put the sump back on. Done deal, on with the next bit. When your timing chain goes in, it wraps around there, and this drives the distributor and the dynamo, and you can actually adjust the chain, which is quite unusual. So that sits on the back of there, like that, yeah, and rotates. Chain wraps around there. If you want to adjust it, see these location eyes, watch the end of that, see it moving?
All right, yeah.
So that adjusts the chain. You tension or loosen the chain.
Yeah.
Clever idea.
Yeah. So you don't see that on many other engines then? This.
Not really, no. You get what you call a cam chain tensioner, which is just spring loaded. But that can only go on one way because of the orientation of the holes. Oh, that's that there. And you have a plunger. Spring, so that goes in there first, then that, and then your outer washer, Again, that'll only go one way. Let's try there. So what that does, when you put your outer cover on, and you've got a reinforced piece, so you can see where the pin's been running.
Yeah.
It holds your camshaft into the engine to stop it chattering. Or walking, they call it, because of the rotational. As it goes up and down on the valves, it's called, the camshaft will walk.
Yeah.
It will move along and go back. So that just holds it under tension. Let's have a quick look and see what the torque spec should be. Camshaft gear bolt. 3/8 plus 16, 20 to 30 pounds. So I want 25 pound on those. 25. Okay, that's them torqued up. Now we've got to wire lock them.
Any method particularly to
There's lots of different ways you can do it. As long as it goes through every hole and it just stops them turning and coming out, you know.
I mean, is there a route that you always follow?
No. I mean, you see them on racing cars and they're absolutely perfect, you know. But it's one of those things, if you do it all day long every day, you'll get it exactly how you want it to look, you know. Right, now I need to start putting all the valves in. Right, now we've got to find 8 bolts. Yeah, these just hold your tappet blocks in, but you need to make sure, that's why all your square chamfered edges are coming outwards on those. So you've got to make sure that they're square into those, just hold them tight. Runs nice and smooth. Right, I've got a load of cleaning to do now, Stu.
Okay.
Basically.
So what will be the next steps on here then?
Now I've got to work out, I know it says there's 20 pins, so you've got 2 marks here and you've got 2 marks there, so I need to set it up on top dead centre. Yeah. Then it says there should be 20 pins between the 2 marks, whether that includes the one or it's 20 from that one. So I've got to put it all on, try and adjust it all, see where the valves are set, because at top dead centre you should have number 1 exhaust valve closing and number 1 inlet valve just about to open. So now I've got to work out which is inlet, because I think it's exhaust, inlet, inlet, exhaust, exhaust, inlet, inlet, exhaust, exhaust, inlet, inlet. So yeah, you just got to get in your brain where it's all rotating, then you've got to check it to make sure the camshaft is correct. So it'll fire number 1, then number 6. So you just got to go through it all methodically, because normally chain somewhere would be stamped on these with a centre pot mark, yeah? It will tell you where it goes, but I can't see any on this chain. So I've got to sit down and just go through it all and work it all out properly. But you know, ballpark roughly, once that's on top dead centre and it lines up with those two, there's 2 marks on there and 2 marks on here, so this cog is possibly off of another engine, but I've lined it up with the markings that are on the other cog I've got, and it is those two there, not those two. So it's all a bit of a hit and miss.